Some of the history, I feel the connection. When they displace us, I feel disconnected.
Right now at 11, historic investment in Albina, in a community torn apart by a highway and a hospital. Hear from neighbors on what change they want to see the most. Also tonight, ballot blunder. Why 500,000+ ballots in Multnomah County are now headed for the recycle bin. And later, missing in 1976, then remains found in 1981. So why did it take until 2023 to bring one Oregon family some answers? Good evening, and we begin tonight with a landmark investment for the historic heart of Black Portland. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. Tonight, Nike co-founder Phil Knight and his wife Penny are putting $400 million toward the revitalization of the Albina neighborhood through a fund with a board of directors that appear to have deep connections to that community. Blair Best with the story.
I feel connected to this area.
In the Albina neighborhood, Ramon Lowe's roots run deep.
I mean, I have a relative that's one of the people up on top of this building. I have an uncle that's on the Black Panther thing over there. I was born at that hospital. I went to that school.
And while it's the community where he once felt most at home, it's now become a part of Portland he hardly recognizes.
They've moved most of us out. It was historically predominantly Black neighborhood of growing up. Most of us have moved out.
Because of the cost of housing, Lowe says, along with development projects like I-5 and Legacy Emmanuel Medical Center he points to, that have forced Black families and businesses to the city's outskirts.
It makes me feel displaced, disheartened that, I can't be in this neighborhood. People look at me now like, what are you doing over here?
It's a feeling Nike's co-founder Phil Knight and his wife Penny are aiming to reverse by investing a historic $400 million into the neighborhood. At a private gathering Monday afternoon, they announced their plan to create the Rebuild Albina project to transform current and future generations of Black Portland, they say, by investing in education, cultural art, and projects to strengthen the community's roots. Knight saying in a statement, quote, "I have long believed in the community of Portland. Some of my most important memories are connected to the east side of Portland, including in Lower Albina." Years ago, Phil Knight was behind the opening of the Albina Nike community store here off MLK, where some of the profits went back into the neighborhood. But it's been closed for months now due to theft, and it's not clear if it'll reopen as part of this project. The money will be managed by a new group headed by Rukiah Adams, who grew up in Northeast Portland, who calls the investment unparalleled.
I'm wondering, how does that mean they're trying to bring us back? Are they going to build affordable housing? What does that mean?
And others, like former Nike employee Oscar Burrell, who still lives in Albina, echoed Lowe's skepticism.
I feel like it's a little late for it, and I don't feel it's genuine, if I would say. I feel like it's more so for their own, benefits and image versus the actual community and the actual people.
And believes the change his neighborhood needs runs much deeper.
We just want to be accepted and be respected as one. It's a lot more needed than, just putting some money into the neighborhood.
Give us back the identity that we built in this neighborhood.
Exactly the concerns this project's leaders say they hope to address. In North Portland, Blair Best, KGW News.
Let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, including a mistake with Multnomah County special elections ballots that means more than 550,000 will have to be reprinted. Elections officials say the blunder deals with the race for Multnomah County Commissioner District 3. When the ballots were printed, they say that race was put on every ballot in the county, not just for voters who live in District 3.
To assure those voters, we will be able to catch those ballots when they come back and ensure that only voters that are eligible to vote in that contest would be able to do so.
County elections officials there. The county estimates it'll cost more than $300,000 to reprint, which officials say will be covered through budget savings and a contingency fund. Ballots are scheduled to go out this Wednesday, but instead will be mailed by May 2nd. Again, this is for Multnomah County only. The election is May 16th. By the way, if you need to register or update your address, you have until tomorrow night. Just visit OregonVotes.gov/register. In Clark County, the sheriff's office has started a trial run for body cameras. 4 sworn members are now wearing the cameras, and some SUVs also have cameras mounted on the windshield. Now, during the trial, they will record every call the 3 deputies and 1 sergeant respond to. If it works out, authorities say they hope all deputies will be wearing them by the end of this year. And in Idaho, the state Supreme Court has unanimously dismissed a media request to remove a gag order in the Brian Kohberger case. Kohberger is accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students at a home just off campus last November. The order limits what police, prosecutors, and others can share with news outlets. The court says the speech restriction was needed to protect Kohberger's right to a fair trial. His next appearance is scheduled for June. Well, jury selection is now underway in a class action lawsuit against Pacific Corp over the power company's alleged role in Oregon's historic 2020 wildfires. 17 Oregon residents are part of a $1.6 billion class action. They allege Pacific Corp failed to shut off power equipment before and during the Labor Day windstorm, even with ample warning, which they say sparked and contributed to the spread of several major fires that year. Now, the fires burned more than 1 million acres, destroyed thousands of homes, and killed 9 people. Pacific Corp says there was no explicit request from government officials to turn off power lines. State and federal investigators still have not ruled on the cause of the fires. Well, nearly 50 years after an Oregon woman disappeared from her nursing home, her family finally has an answer. Elia Wilkins went missing in Clackamas County in 1976, and in 1981, human remains were found in the Sandy area. Investigators noted the skull there probably belonged to an older female who had lost all her teeth and likely wore dentures, details that matched Wilkins, though at the time they say there was just no way to confirm. Then in 2010, the remains were reanalyzed.
And we had done forensic DNA analysis on the bones already. We had uploaded that DNA profile into the national DNA database, and it had been searching against family reference standards, missing persons standards, all of these items in these profiles, but it never associated genetically with any other profiles.
So here's what happened. Eventually, somebody connected the dots, and the medical examiner's office reached out to Wilkins' granddaughter for a DNA sample. Earlier this month, the test revealed a match, and more than 4 decades on, Wilkins' remains were released to her family. Well, tonight it's been a neighborhood standby for decades. A grocery store in Northwest Portland is closing its doors for the final time. The Food Front Co-op on Northwest Thurman opened in 1972. Now, over the past few years, it's been dealing with a number of financial issues. The store's GM stepped down recently, along with the co-op's entire board of directors. With the end of that one business came a new beginning elsewhere, as Shake Shack opened its first downtown Portland location on West Burnside, across from Powell's Books. Now, this location, the chain's second in the metro area, has been in the works for years. They are hoping their patio will be a big draw, along with their burgers and fries there. Neighboring businesses say, you know what, it's nice to see that particular corner of downtown, at least on opening day, thriving. Meanwhile, in Clark County, the A Casino held a ribbon cutting to mark its expansion. It is a brand new hotel there with nearly 300 rooms across 14 floors. There's also an indoor-outdoor pool, a gym, and a top-floor restaurant. The Cowlitz Indian Tribe first opened that casino in 2017.